Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to learn how we can create a pop-up. Now I apologize because I haven't created like a good looking pop-up, but again it's not that big of a deal because you would be the one who would like style it. But again, this video I just wanted to show like the functionality, and then rather than creating the whole design, I just decided to just show like this ugly looking stuff. But just know that it will work. You don't have to do on the image, you could do it for anything. Sorry, you don't have to do it on a text. You could add like an image, a button, anything that you want, which will open like a pop-up. Okay, and if you click outside like this, it will close it, or if you click on here, it will close it. Obviously it make it look much more prettier than this, but again this functionality works, so that's all you need to know. You could customize it however you want. Now one more thing I want you guys to know, that Elementor Pro actually has like pop-up feature, but the issue is it is only available in Elementor Pro. This one you could use for free, but the Elementor Pro one has like a lot more features. If you want to get all those high quality features, then get Elementor Pro, and the link is in description, and if you use that link you could support me. And I actually have lots of templates on my website. You could see Elementor templates. If you check my blogs, there are lots of features. I also created like a Facebook page. It only has like one member, okay, which is me. But again, here you could come and ask some questions, or if you want something, a new feature, a template or something, then I can make it in my future tutorials. So yeah, let's just get started. The first thing first is I'm just going to create a container for now to add our stuff inside. So again, you don't have to do all this styling right now. And inside of this, we are actually going to create a container like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call it like pop-up, and this would be our pop-up. And for the sizing, you could create like your own sizing, but I like to use is something like minimum. So if you guys don't know what it means, is that it would use like whatever is like the smallest. So right now it will use like 1300 pixels, but if 80% of the screen width is lower than 1300 pixels, then it would use that one. Okay, I'll just make it in center. Usually it's not going to be that big of a deal to do center and all, because after all we are just going to give it like position styling. So let's make it like 500 in height or something. We could also do is use VH instead, so it is like half the size of the screen, or maybe 60, something like this. Also I'll make this container to be 100 VH. You don't have to do this step. I'm just making it for this like video to look nicer. And let's give it a color. So this would be our pop-up. So this would be our pop-up. Obviously you could style it however you want. Your design, make your own look with it. And we are going to give this a CSS class of DM pop-up. And inside of this, I'll just create an icon. You could create anything that you want, but icon just works better for like the closing of stuff. And I'm going to give it a plus. Make it, I guess, white. Obviously style whatever you want. It doesn't have to be same. Give it a transform maybe. Let's try it, something like this. And this one we will give it a CSS class of DM pop-up close like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a text for now, but you could add anything, button, image, or whatever you want. And this one I'll give it a class of DM pop-up link. Okay, so whenever we click on this, we want to open this stuff. So below this container, not below this, but below everything, we will add our HTML widget, which would allow us to add our CSS and JavaScript. So this is the CSS and JavaScript that I'll explain to you, so that you could do some changes as per your requirements. So let me just paste it in here, and you could see suddenly it just works, something like this. So let me just see if it's actually working or not. Okay, it's not. So maybe it's getting behind. So let's just give it a C index of something like 9, or maybe like 2 or something. 2 will work also, but I'll just give 9 to test it out. Okay, so the issue that we were facing was because we didn't add our background stuff. So if I, let's say, remove my container, I added this one. I'll show you what I did. I totally forgot about it, but this is the issue that you will face if you follow till this step, you could say it's not showing, and that is because we also have something called overlay, and which is like this background area. Okay, and because we haven't added that area, it's actually causing an issue and the JavaScript is not functioning well. So what you simply need to do is add a container. Make sure it's above the HTML. Okay, you cannot keep it below it. And then I'm just going to call it like popup bg. And another thing is, maybe it's harder to like edit something because again it's not visible at all. Let's like copy this, paste it in our notepad, and then remove this one so that we could work on it. If after removing your pop-up is not showing, then again you have to refresh it and then do all the changes and then add the code again, else it would be like very harder to like work around here. So the best thing is make your pop-up all responsive, do all the stuff, all the changes that you want, and then add the code. That way it would be easier to edit it. Okay, so in the popup bg, which is around here, I'm going to make this 100% in height like this. And because if I go to my code, we have given the pop-up of position fixed, which is like same as going inside of this one and giving position fixed like this. And if I, let's say, give it red color, you could say it's now just stuck on the screen. Maybe if I give like higher z index, something like this, you could see it's now like stuck on the screen, something like this. So right now we have given our pop-up a z index of 9. Obviously the overlay should be behind our pop-up, so I'm just going to give it a z index of 8 like this, so that it is behind our pop-up. And I'm going to remove this around here because I have added it in our code, which is pop-up fixed like this. Let's copy this now and then paste it in here. We have to make sure this one has the CSS class, which is DM pop-up overlay like this, and you could see everything just disappeared. And you could see as soon as I click, it works. It just shows that. And again, I have to do some customizing. Okay, it does not look nicer right now, but you will have to do some customizing. Like you could make it not be red and then actually be something like nicer color, like black color with some like transparency like this. You could also add like blur effect to it if you want. It's up to your choice. So you could see right now there is this effect, and then if I click on here, it just closes. The pop-up works, but how about we customize it even more? So in this code, I have given it anime in and anime out. Anime in is, it takes 200 milliseconds to, you see, pop up like this. And again, do not change the name of this one and do not change it from millisecond to seconds. If you want to use 2 seconds, just add an extra 0 like this, which would be like 2 seconds, but don't make it like 2 seconds like this, because the code uses, or the JavaScript that I've used checks this value around here to do some changes so that the code works nicely. Okay, so make sure you do not change stuff around here except the values, which should be in milliseconds. So if I want this to be slower, I can just make it to be 500 milliseconds, anime in like this, and it would take 500 milliseconds to do scaling and opacity. But I'll show some changes if you don't want scaling and stuff. So you could say this is how it goes. We will also see how we can just keep the pop-up already be shown on the screen instead of having it as a button. You know, the pop-ups that get shown as soon as you load a page, like subscribe to a newsletter or something. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but before that, let's just look at the styling stuff. Now if we go in around here, which is our keyframe, so DM fade in and then 2 keyframes, DM fade out. When it shows, or when we click on it, it uses this effect, and when we click again to like close it, it uses DM fade out effect. Okay, so anything that you add around here, if you know CSS, then You could do like, if you don't want like fading effect, you could remove the opacity like this. Just remove the opacity and let's paste it, and that way there would be like no fading effect, only scale in effect. You see, no fading. But if you only want fading effect, then obviously you could do is opacity 0. It goes from opacity 0 to opacity 1, and at the fade out it should be going from 1 to 0, and that way it does not have the scale in scale out effect around here. But again, you could add any CSS that you know to add the styling. So you see right now it's just fading in and out, and that way you could add any effect that you know with CSS animation and it would just work. You could do rotate and stuff, whatever you want. Okay, now how about we create this pop-up to show automatically without having to click anywhere. For that, we simply need to do some changes to the code, and that is we remove this stuff which is display none, and you could simply do it by doing / or completely removing it. So first thing we removed is our display none, and all we simply need to do is go in our pop-up and type show like this, like space show, and our pop-up bg2 to have like show like this. Let's do preview changes, and you see it is automatically being visible, and if I click it just goes out, and if I click on the button it shows again. But again, you don't need to add a button if you are just trying to have a pop-up like this. And just remember that every time you refresh it, it will show the pop-up again and again. So if you want something like the pop-up should not be visible after someone's closed and then does a refresh, then you will need to have Elementor Pro that you would get from the description. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Consider following the Facebook page, Instagram, anything that you want. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.